Not only were songs written in support of the Patriots' cause, but music also played an important role on the battlefields of the Revolutionary War.
Musicians are the primary manner with which we communicate. Frequently there is the fog of war, as it is called. Frequently there is smoke, the discharge of muskets and various guns and cannons. I would convey orders to my aides, they would convey the orders to brigade and division commanders, and they in turn would convey them to the musicians.
The role of music during the American Revolution is something that you wouldn't guess today. It was actually communication. Of course, there weren't cell phones, there weren't walkie-talkies, there weren't satellite radios. So you had to spread the word from the commander across the battlefield to however many troops you had. And the way that was accomplished was through loud music.
Today, the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps carry on the musical traditions of our nation. The Old Guard is known for historical accuracy in recreating the music and uniforms of the Continental Army.
Well, our uniforms are patterned after the Revolutionary War musicians' uniform. And musicians of the time wore reverse colors of their parent infantry unit. And our parent infantry unit wears blue coats with red facings, and that's why we wear the red coats with blue facings, so in the smoke and confusion of battle, the commander could find a musician rather quickly.
All of the instruments that we play are adaptations of historical instruments. A fife in the 18th century would have had 6 holes. This one actually has 10. The fifes of the 18th century, some of the notes would have been more sharp than others, some of the notes would have been more flat than others, and that would sound awful odd to a modern ear. Soldiers would be taught to recognize a melody or a drum beating and react to it, to do what that melody instructed them to do. If the commander needed to stop his regiment from firing, his voice certainly wasn't going to be heard over the firing, so he turns to his fifer and drummer, who are always hopefully positioned right near him, issues the command cease fire, and they play the tune. It gets picked up down the line by every other fifer and drummer on the field, and the soldiers closest to that fifer and drummer would hear the tune, know what to do, and cease firing.
Music played a hugely important role in regulating their daily activities, whether they were in the camp or on the march or in the battlefield. Music was the form of communication. It was the patterns of the drum beats that set the tempo of the march. It was the patterns of the drum beats that communicated specific signals during camp. There would be a signal, for instance, for gathering firewood. There'd be a signal for waking up in the morning, reveille. We think of that as a bugle call today, but it was a drum call during the Revolution. And so the signals that the drums communicated were hugely important.
As you can see, music was an important tool during the Revolutionary War, and as we all know from history class, the British surrendered to the Americans at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, though the war didn't actually end until 2 years later when the Treaty of Paris was signed. The British eventually evacuated New York City on November 25, 1783. When George Washington triumphantly rode into the city, there was a lot of celebrating. Shortly after, Washington resigned his commission as Commander-in-Chief and returned to Mount Vernon.